Hey there, Detroit sports fanatics. I'm Taylor Phillips, and welcome to Taylor's Detroit Sports, episode 24 on Spreaker. Lots of Tigers talk tonight, including their 8-4 win over the Pirates at Comerica Park. We'll talk about Joe Nathan's chin flip, two chin flips that is, towards the fans right after the game ended, and Justin Verlander's potential return to the mound in the starting pitching rotation, as well as Victor Martinez's words about the fans criticizing the Tigers lately. We'll also talk some Lions. Including Nick Fairley's weight and Ndamukong Suh being a mess that the Lions made of a contract. We'll get to that written by the Sports News a bit later on in this episode. We'll also talk a little bit of Red Wings, describing Danny DeKeyser feeling confident they'll sign him. And I will also announce the Pistons' upcoming schedule. And a little Michigan Wolverines basketball update, a positive one that is. First off, Tigers beat the Pirates 8-4. Buck Farmer made his major league debut, and it wasn't all that great, but it wasn't all that bad either. But the Tigers opened the score. But first, the Tigers opened the scoring on a Nick Castellanos triple, scoring Victor Martinez. Nick Castellanos almost hit an inside the park home run. Dave Clark decided to hold him at third because the throw is right back to the throw sailed right back to the infield after right before Castellanos. Right when Castellanos hit the bag at third. But then that gave the Tigers a 1-0 lead, but the Pirates tied it up on an RBI double by Russell Martin to right. Then the Pirates would take a 4-1 lead on an RBI triple by Jordy Mercer and a 2-run home run by Travis Snyder. All 3 runs were scored in the top of the 4th. Pirates take a 4-1 lead. The Tigers struck right back with 3 runs of their own to tie the game with an Alex Avila solo home run, and Miguel Cabrera hit an RBI sacrifice fly, which looked like extra bases, scoring Eugenio Suarez and sending Ezekiel Carrera, tonight's center fielder, to third. Victor Martinez would then tie the game with an RBI single, scoring Carrera. Next inning, Nick Castellanos gave the Tigers back the lead with a solo shot way deep into left center field into the seats. giving the Tigers a 5-4 lead. Next inning, bottom 7. Victor Martinez hit a big key 2 RBI single, 2-run single down the right field line, scoring Ezekiel Carrera and Ian Kinsler. With the bases loaded and nobody out, Miguel Cabrera would take third. After being intentionally walked. Torrey Hunter would then ground into a force out, scoring Miguel Cabrera from third, making it 8-4. Jabba Chamberlain would only walk Ike Davis, but he got Russell Martin to line out for the first batter, Russell Martin, to line out to center fielder Ezekiel Carrera. And then 2 batters later, he would fan Starling Marte and Pedro Alvarez. And then Joe Nathan came on. He walked the first 2 batters in the top of the 9th, Jordy Mercer and Travis Snyder. I mean, Snyder's a really dangerous hitter. But those 2 walks with nobody out put Nathan in a bit of trouble. Jeff Jones came to talk Nathan down, and then Joe Nathan got Jason Nix to fly out to left field and Don Kelly for the first out, and then he would get Josh Harrison to ground into a 5-3 double play as Nick Castellanos fielded that hopper. He would touch third immediately when he got the ball, and then he threw to first, and Miguel Cabrera to end the game. The Tigers win 8-4, but just seconds after the game ended, Joe Nathan gave the fans the chin flip with his right bare hand. And then he shook hands with Alex Avila, patted him on the shoulder, and then gave the fans another chin flip that gave the fans on the third base side a chin flip with his glove. The first chin flip was to the fans on the first base side. And I first found that out from Dennis Fithian from 97.1 The Ticket in Detroit on Twitter on a Vine video. And I was shocked to see it. Joe Nathan still shut it down, but I was listening to Fithian and Pat Caputo on 97.1 The Ticket in Detroit on my computer. On my Mozilla Firefox browser. And they were saying it was all just coming out of frustration from Joe. And that was because the fans continuously booed Joe Nathan. I mean, as Pat Caputo said, fans have the right to boo. but he and Fithian said they were booing too seriously. They were kind of overreacting. And, there are lots of Tigers fans all over this world, especially those who attend, those 41,000 just about, who attend those games at Comerica Park. And they're seeing this. They expect Joe Nathan to close it out in order, 1, 2, 3. Can you give me just a minute? I'll be right back. And they're seeing all this stuff. Well, at least some of them are. But those who see Joe Nathan give them such a disrespectful gesture are thinking, what? What? Oh, yeah? Well, get the F out of here, Joe, you piece of scum. We don't need your BS. What's David Dombrowski thinking? What are Joe Nathan's teammates thinking? What's Brad Ausmus thinking? What am I thinking? I think Joe Nathan really stepped over the line. I'm not going to lie. That was just totally disrespectful. No excuses. Alex Avila has now 10 home runs. He hit a home run in Game 2 of the Tigers-Pirates series at PNC Park earlier this week. And now he hit another home run tonight. They're both against righties, but he's been on a hot streak. A bit of a hot streak as of late. And you got to give props to Alex Avila for that. All he had to do was just swing the bat. Let's hope he swings the bat more often and more fundamentally against lefties. He's really struggled against lefties. Looking at stats here. Buck Farmer went 5 innings, gave up 6 hits, all 4 runs, all earned. Walked 1, struck out 4, gave up a home run. That was off the bat of Travis Snyder. Blaine Hardy, the winning pitcher, went 2 innings flat. No hits, no runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Buck Farmer has recently been sent back down to the AAA Toledo Mud Hens, by the way, about a half hour after the game ended. Offensively for the Tigers, Victor Martinez had 3 RBIs on 3 hits and scored a run out of 4 at-bats. His batting average is now up to .303. Miguel Cabrera had 1 RBI. My dad thought he had 2. But no. He got 1 RBI. He walked and scored a run out of 2 at-bats. Nick Castellanos got himself 2 RBIs, including a home run and a triple. He scored 1 run out of 4 at-bats. He went 2 for 4. Avila went 1 for 3 with a home run, and he walked and struck out looking in his first at-bat. Ezekiel Carrera went 1 for 5 and scored 2 runs, struck out once. Ian Kinsler went 1 for 2. With a run scored, a walk, and a strikeout. Miguel Cabrera, everybody's favorite, just about everybody's favorite Tiger. Wait, I already mentioned him. Torrey Hunter was 2 for 4 with an RBI. Don Kelly also got a hit. Everybody but Miguel Cabrera got at least 1 hit. Cabrera is still batting .307. And now for Pittsburgh. Vance Worley took the loss, pitching 5 1/3 innings, gave up 9 hits, 5 runs, 3 earned, walked 1, struck out 4, gave up 2 home runs to Avila and Castellanos. Travis Snyder was the only Pirate to record 2 RBIs on a 2-run home run, but that was it. He went 1 for 3. Russell Martin and Jordy Mercer each got the other 2 RBIs, 1 RBI each. Martin went 1 for 4, and Mercer went 1 for 2. with 2 walks. Josh Harrelson went 1 for 5. Buck Farmer's Major League ERA is 7.20, and Vance Worley's ERA this year is 2.51. I do have an article from Bless You Boys of SB Nation. Says Joe Nathan's ongoing feud with the Tigers fan base continues with a flick of the chin. In the article titled Joe Nathan's questionable gesture. Joe Nathan got into some trouble again on Wednesday night, putting 2 runners on base with leadoff back-to-back walks in the 9th inning, with the Tigers leading the Pirates 8-4. The fans at Comerica Park let Nathan know how they felt, with boos when he failed and Bronx cheers when he would throw a strike or record an out. After recording the final out of the game on a double play turned by Nick Castellanos, Nathan was caught on camera, subsequently posted on Vine by Melinda Mossholder, or however you pronounce that, making this gesture twice. First to the fans on the first base side, and then to the fans on the third base side, like I mentioned before. Was that the well-known Italian hand gesture that means, to put it politely, please go have carnal relations with yourself? Many in the fan base apparently thought so. Joe, both on and off the field, you got a long road to hoe. That's the end of that article. I want to talk some Justin Verlander here. Jason Beck from MLB.com writes, Verlander is eager to return to the Tigers' rotation. Justin Verlander made it clear he takes a lot of pride in having never spent a day in the major leagues on the disabled list. He has no plans on breaking that streak now. He quoted, "It means a lot to me. I'm very prideful of that. I put a lot of work into that. I've never actually missed a start before, so this is going to be a little tough." Unquote. Manager Brad Ausmus confirmed that left-hander Robbie Ray, who took the loss Tuesday in Pittsburgh will start Sunday against the Mariners at Comerica Park. Ausmus had left open a slight possibility that Verlander might be ready, but eliminated that Wednesday. Essentially, the Tigers will skip Verlander's spot thanks to next Monday's off day. They don't need his spot until next Saturday's day-night doubleheader at Minnesota against the Twins. Verlander was set to meet Wednesday with team doctor Stephen Lemos, Lemos, to formulate a rehab plan that would give him his best chance at keeping that streak going. At the same time, additional doctors from outside the organization were being consulted to review his test results and the diagnosis. At this point, Verlander has no plans to see a specialist for a second opinion, but he's keeping his options open. He quoted, "I'm going to get other options. Whether I need to go visit them or not, I don't know." The more minds you put together to look at something, the better. Hopefully they all come back and say, "Hey, that's what we see too." If they say, "Hey, maybe you want to come in and maybe you want to come in and get evaluated," okay, I might be willing to make a visit. Verlander said again that he'd been dealing with soreness in his shoulder since before his one-inning start Monday at Pittsburgh, but declined to say how long. He also said that while his exams showed no major structural damage, that doesn't mean that there was no abdominal wear and tear. He quoted, "Structurally, my shoulder looks about as good as you can expect for someone that's been in the league for 10 years, unquote. As for whether he believes he can get back to full strength with the time off, Verlander said, quote, "We'll see. I'm excited to get back out there. Whether it's 100% strength or not, I'll be ready to pitch." Tigers also sent right-handed relief pitcher Kevin Whelan back to AAA Toledo before the game to make room for Buck Farmer. Whelan gave up back-to-back home runs in an inning and a third in Pittsburgh, which was on Monday. He still has a minor league option, so he at age 30 remains on the 40-man roster. Victor Martinez, after the game tonight, said, quote, about the fans, "We're trying. It's too long of a season. At some point, you're going to struggle. Every team struggles. As a fan, if you're just going to be with us when we're doing good, when we really need the fans when we struggle too, it bothers me. It bothers me because people think that we're playing little league teams out there. One thing for sure is every day we show up, we're ready to beat the other team. A lot of times it ends up on the good side. A lot of times on the wrong side. We win the division by 3 to 4 games, and I hear people complaining. I've heard some negative comments. If somebody has to be panicked, it's us here. We're the ones playing. We're fine. We believe in what we've got. We're not going to keep playing like this too long." We got too good of a team. Every team struggles at some point. look at it during the season, every team struggles. We wish that we could go 162-0, which is never possible. The fans, have all the right to be mad, but I just let everyone know that it's not that easy like they think. We're not going to go out there and run over everything. I wish I could have 5 to 6 RBIs every night. That would be perfect for me and the rest of my teammates, guys on the other side. They have families too. They are in the big leagues for a reason. Let's don't forget that part. We're trying. We're giving our best out there, man. There's nobody that gets more frustrated than we do. I don't want to go out there and leave the bases loaded, strike out with men in scoring position. I don't want that. I want to win. I'm desperate. I want to get that World Series ring on my hand. I never had a chance to win. Never. When things are not going your way, a lot of times we're just trying to do too much. We just got to relax, sit back, and let things happen. You can't hit a 3-run homer with nobody on. The part when you struggle, and it's when everybody struggles at the same time, it's not fun, unquote. Let me get some Lions, Red Wings, Pistons, and Michigan Wolverines basketball in real quick before time runs out. The Lions made a mess of Suh's contract, which means an immediate trade is now the best option. The Sporting News, Jason Fitzgerald writes, the Lions have a big decision on their hands regarding star defensive tackle Ndamukong Suh. Suh carries a $22.4 million salary cap charge in 2014, and his contract will become void in 2015, leaving the Lions with a huge cap hit and little else in return. Poor salary cap management and planning by the Lions front office has all but eliminated the possibility of signing Suh to a contract extension that makes sense for the team. The best option at this point is for the Lions to strongly consider trading Suh to the highest bidder before the preseason concludes. How the Lions got here? Suh represents one of the last remaining rookie contracts signed under the rules of the 2006 collective bargaining agreement. During the terms of the old CBA, agents and players had a great deal of leeway to ask for major contract concessions from the team, the Lions. Suh's contract would run for just 5 years with an expected value of $60 million and a maximum value of $68 million. A huge chunk of that, $40 million, was virtually guaranteed upon signing. Because of the salary structures used in these rookie contracts, teams had to avoid modifying the contracts prior to a first extension. The Lions, however, would proceed to make a disaster out of Suh's contract, showing almost no thought of long-term planning. Suh's contract would be reworked for salary cap relief in both 2012 and 2013, pushing salary cap charges further and further into the contract. To make matters worse, Suh's deal contained avoidable contract year in 2015, which was simply used as a placeholder for salary cap charges. The charges in the voidable year will remain with the Lions whether or not Suh is on the team that season. Suh's original contract would have called for a salary cap charge of $16.147 million in 2014, with just $3.472 million left in charges in the 2015 season. Following all the restructuring, his cap charge grew to $22.4125 million in 2014, with $9.7375 million in charges still sitting in that voidable contract year. These decisions have compromised the Lions' ability to negotiate a long-term extension with Suh at a reasonable compensation level and contract structure. Normally, teams would threaten a player with the franchise tag when negotiating a contract, and under his prior contract structure, that figure would have been $19.226 million. While that number seems incredibly high, it would be less cash than he would receive in a contract extension, and both sides would have reason to get a contract done. Now, the cost of the franchise tag will be $26.745 million with a salary cap charge of $36.483 million. What would Suh cost? The current top of the market contract for a veteran 4-3 defensive tackle is held by Geno Atkins of the Cincinnati Bengals. Atkins signed an extension in 2013 worth just under $10.7 million a season, well below Suh's current contract figure. While Atkins does not have the reputation that Suh has for being a dominant force on the football field, in terms of basic production, Atkins would be considered slightly superior to Suh. Here is a brief statistical comparison of Suh and Atkins over what would be the 2 years leading up to a new contract. Suh had 13.5 sacks, 129.5 total pressures, and 83 tackles. Atkins, 20 tackles flat, 123 total pressures flat, and 101 tackles. Suh's agents will focus on the $12.2 million a year contract signed in 2011 by Ravens tackle Haloti Ngata. Ngata's contributions to the Ravens never showed up on a stat sheet, and his contract was largely based upon his perceived talent level and reputation for making those around him better. Considering the salary cap has risen by 11% since that time, we can probably assume that Suh would be looking for a contract worth $13.5 million a season. The Atkins and Ngata contracts also differ greatly in the way they were structured, and Suh is in a position to demand the Lions use something closer to the Ngata structure. Ngata received $35 million in prorated bonus money compared to just $15 million for Atkins. Ngata's bonuses virtually guarantee the first 4 years of his contract, while Atkins only has the same protection for 2 years. Forget this stuff. No, wait, I don't. I'm almost done. The cash flows of the contracts illustrate the massive differences in real commitments the teams made to the players. Ngata had made from $27.1 million to $61 million flat through his 5 years, and Atkins made $23.577 million to $53.277 million through his 5 years. Why the Lions should not extend Suh? I will get to the Red Wings, Pistons, and Michigan Wolverines on episode 25 coming up shortly after episode 24 here. My apologies for taking up too much time. When Ngata was at his peak, the Ravens were one of the top defensive units in the NFL. The Bengals have been that with Atkins. In Suh's 4 years in the NFL, the Lions have ranked on average 21st in points allowed and 17th in sacks. Suh may make a big difference on a team with an already solid defense in place, but on the Lions, he has yet to be a difference maker in terms of team production, and there is little reason to think that will change over the next 2 years. Teams do not compromise their salary structure from a non-difference making player. There's almost no contract structure that the Lions can utilize to create a favorable situation with Suh. Other teams can use a more modern approach of roster bonuses combined with signing bonuses, but the Lions would likely be locked into a contract containing somewhere in the ballpark of a $30 million signing bonus and 2 other option bonuses. Such a contract would look like this. In 2014, the salary would be $2.550 million. The prorated money is $15.7375 million. cap charge, $18,287,500. And I really can't read that, but new money, cumulative new money, $20 million. I guess cumulative. $2015, $1 million salary, prorated money. I'll post that on all those numbers posted on this article are there. Detroit won't get better by locking Suh at those figures. It should not be an option they even consider. Trading Suh, moving on from Suh, would be the best move the team could make. They would save $12.675 million in cap room in 2014, money that can be rolled over into future seasons to help them cope with the contracts they signed with Calvin Johnson and Matthew Stafford. They would likely receive at least a second-round draft pick in a trade, a pick they can use in 2015. That is a far better option than the alternative of letting an unhappy Suh play out his contract and sign with a better team in 2015. In this scenario, the Lions would need to rework other players' contracts to be cap compliant in the 2014 regular season, thus making their future cap prospects worse. At best, they would receive a compensatory pick following the third round of the 2016 draft. Unless Suh is the key to a deep playoff run in 2014, keeping him in Detroit this season offers no long-term benefit to the health of the franchise. It's not an easy decision, but it's the one thing the Lions should make. I have finally reached the end of the article. Coming up next on episode, that's it for episode 24 of Taylor's Detroit Sports on Spreaker. Coming up on episode 25, I will resume Detroit sports talk about the Red Wings and Pistons and Michigan basketball's Karis LeVert returning to the court after his injury. So come on back.